returns to Halo Headlines for the week of September 27th to October 3rd, part of Podcast Evolved, your home for Halo. I'm your host, Oren, and with me today is Aaron.
Hi, guys.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm not too bad. I've played some Halo this week. I've had a good time.
Oh, very good. I think we're going to talk about that.
No, there's no news relevant in the Halo circles this week.
Oh, come on. We have a new game coming out in a couple months. A couple weeks now. My goodness, it's 2 months away.
Funnily enough, it feels like it's been a year away.
Yeah, you could say that again. Before we get started, just want to do a quick shout out and thank all of our patrons for their continued support to make our show possible. Thank you guys so much. If you want to head over to patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved to learn more about the exclusive rewards we offer to our patrons, you can. It's just patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved. Now, big news of this week is that we had our first taste of the Halo Infinite Big Team Battle experience through their second multiplayer technical flight. Aaron, you dove into it, so did I. What did we think?
I had a good time. I enjoyed Big Team much more than I enjoyed 4v4 Slayer. Definitely a little less sweaty and competitive, which was my big complaint.
Right.
It's one of those things where there was no option to explore the map in training mode, at least not when I tried it. You were kind of roaming around trying to figure the map out as you went. So most of my first few games were spent just in a state of utter confusion at all times. But I had a good time. I think we played a game of Slayer. It was grand. Capture the Flag was probably my favourite. Total Control Territories mode was okay.
That one, it took me like 2 matches to figure it out. At first I thought we were playing Strongholds, so I was capturing it as if it was Strongholds, and then I was like, why aren't the points going up? And then they finally did go up, and then I couldn't find the zones, and I was like, why do the zones keep moving? And then I realized that they actually do move. Like the second match I played, I was like, oh wow, okay, this is a completely different mode than what I'm used to. But yeah, it basically is an evolution of territories.
I did take a bit of getting used to, but I feel like on one of the respawns of the areas ended up in kind of a weird spot where we spent the entire time fighting over point A, and it got not so fun then, because we would take the point, then we would lose it, then we would take it, then we would lose it. People sort of forgot about the rest. I did like it in Capture the Flag when we took the flags and then they respawned in a different place, because I, of course, bolted back and then realised the icon had moved. It kind of prevents that thing of the other team, oh, we have your flag and now we've sent half our team back to your spawn point to wait for the flag to come back again. Because now the flag has moved. So, I see why they did it. So, I'd be curious to see what things like doing it with a bomb, stuff like that. I've been able to do things like chuck the bomb, like the fusion coil, stuff like that could be interesting. There's lots of potential with it, but overall, I had a fun time. I really did enjoy it. The biggest issue we had was a lot of temperamental matchmaking.
Oh, really?
But I suppose that is the point of a flight, yeah.
My experience was pretty smooth in that regard. I don't really remember I didn't have any crashes. I didn't have any latency issues, I don't think. Yeah, for me, it was just, I was still getting the learning curve. I was still trying to read the screen and the HUD and fine-tune my controls, which I probably should have just done in training mode or in weapon drills. But yeah, it's a little sensory overload for me, and I think that's just because it's a new game. I'm still trying to figure it out, learn the maps as well. I've just, after playing for an hour and a half, I finally can mentally picture the whole map and kind of how it is laid out. So it's yeah, pretty positive all around. It's just, like I said, that learning curve. So I enjoyed it. I'm honestly ready. I feel like I've seen enough to where I'm ready for just the game to come out and then to just dive into it. I'd be content if I didn't get any more news, so to speak, of the game, Because like even though like it would be nice to see campaign again and see more details about that, like I'm at the point where it's like I don't need to know anything more. Like I feel like I know enough. It's just like Chief is back, the Banisher here, Cortana's out there. Like go save the day. That's the second weekend is now over. So if you partook, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, share your thoughts with us and we can talk about it. I don't think there's going to be a third flight ahead of launch. We're two months out. We have a few more campaign details I think they're going to take out, but other than that, like I said, we're just waiting for the game to come out. So if you did partake, I also do want to stress leaving feedback in the forums for 343 to read, tweet them out, go to Reddit, be part of the process, because that's the point of these tests, is to find the feedback, find the problems. So if you get a survey, definitely fill it out. If you don't get a survey and just have an opinion about something that you think should be heard, then make sure you go to the right forum to post that, as well as Reddit or Twitter. Next, we have a cannon fodder. This is number 119, called Preview Purview. It actually came out ahead of the Infinite Flight during the week last week, and it provides a little bit of lore on some maps and some weapons and the Scorpion. So we have snippets for this, like I said, the Scorpion, the shock rifle, which is a new sort of like pseudo sniper rifle with a like a charge electrical beam, kind of like the focus rifle is kind of the comparison I felt, as well as the heat wave, which we did get in the first flight, but we got a little bit more lore context. Then with that, we played on two new maps, Fragmentation and Behemoth. Behemoth was kind of the arena flavor that was added in the 4v4, whereas Fragmentation was our one and only big team battle of our 12v12. So there are little lore descriptions here for Fragmentation. Is set within one of Zeta Halo's Marid canyons. Fragmentation is rife with enigmatic elements to take in and mull over. From ancient artifacts to nebulous nodes to networked beacons channeling untold energies, this map is one to add plenty of wonder to the winder. And then Behemoth is amidst the backdrop of a vast desert landscape. Behemoth offers a glimpse at one of Zeta Halo's tectonic fabrication seams, artificial features built to serve a multitude of parallel purposes, from remediation to transportation. There was also a shout out in this week's cannon fodder to Herispus, who did a monumental amount of work to create a website called previouslyonhalo.com, and it is a resource that pretty much summarizes every single piece of Halo media ever produced and available. It dives into the books, the short stories, the comics, the TV shows, the animated features, the games, even like the audio dramas. There's so much content that he went through. Jeff shouted him out. We wanted to highlight him as well on the incredible work that he has done. So if you wanted to take a look and check that out, it is again previously on halo.com. And finally, for the cannon fodder, this cannon fodder marks the 7th anniversary for the cannon fodder, and Jeff was sharing his sentiment with everybody, talking about the origins of it, what he believes it has accomplished over the last 7 years, and how he wants to just continue pushing it for the fans and the lore content creators out there. So thank you very much, Jeff. Congratulations for all that. Here's to another 7 years, so to speak. All right, then lastly on our headlines, we have the kickoff major in Raleigh, North Carolina for 2021. This is an esports post regarding the first Halo Infinite esports event that will take place in December 17th through 19th, which is merely 10 days after the release of Halo Infinite, which is crazy. I think anyone who has any sort of interest in competitive Halo should check this out, because not only will everyone be fairly unfamiliar with the game, but we'll be able to see pros pretty much learn on the go. Of course, they'll have some scrims and planning and practice that they'll do beforehand, but it takes months, if not years, for high-level players to really learn and take advantage of different games' movement systems. And so since it's so early in Halo Infinite's release, that this series should be pretty crazy and remarkable and everything in between.
It's going to be interesting to see what high-level Halo players do with 10 days of practice and getting thrown into it against each other. Like, it'll be curious to see what stuff they've figured out in the first few days that us, the more casual multiplayer player, would never have thought of. I might actually pay some attention to this because I'm not usually a big one for esports, but I would definitely be curious to see what people make of this.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to say the least, because it's so soon after launch. So it also is the first Halo event since the shutdown in the US. February 2020 was their last Halo esports event, so it's also going to be interesting just from an implementation and event coordinating point of view. There are COVID protocols where we have mask mandates, vaccination requirements, negative COVID test requirements, and all that gets outlined in the post as well. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this is handled, how well it goes. If there are any positive cases that come out of this, how will that affect esports as an ecosystem and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's definitely going to be important for people to keep an eye out, even if they're not overly involved or follow specific players or teams. It should just be an interesting Halo event, given the timing of everything. If you want to go, if you're in the area of Raleigh, North Carolina, tickets are on sale. Some of the more VIP tickets might be sold out, so you definitely want to try to secure your ticket soon. And if you do go in person, just be safe with the COVID-19 risks and all that. Wanted to shout out our friends over at HCS Pro Talk. They talk about this event as well as a lot of other juicy details in more detail on episode 202. So you can head over to HCS Pro Talk for all your competitive Halo news. They're on Twitch and your favorite podcast service. And that's about it. Anything else to add, Aaron?
Not really. It's been a pretty good week for Halo. Just looking forward to some big Infinite news over the next few weeks, hopefully, to start building the hype up for launch. That's really all we're missing now. This is probably the tightest hype cycle for a Halo that we've ever had. I'm hoping to see a few things.
All of October and all of November will be hype train. And then, of course, we have Halo's 20th anniversary in kind of the first half of November. So that's definitely going to be a great celebration. And I imagine 343 is going to be doing something around that. So
I hope we get something big there. Fingers crossed.
Well, that will wrap it up for this week's of the Halo headlines. Be sure to follow us and keep track, and we'll keep you up to date on other Halo headlines for future weeks. You can also head over to halopodcastevolve.com and check out our website, as it features all of our other episodes and the entire library of episodes for other shows. We have our main show, Podcast Evolve, Mission Debrief, Halo Book Club, and Builds with Blocks. Like I mentioned already, our partners Will and Josh over at HCS Pro Talk for all your competitive Halo news. They're great guys, and they have exploded with content with the second flight being available, and they also crossed 200 episodes and interviewed Tashi, who is the esports lead over at Microsoft and 343. So check them out for more information on that front. Thank you all for listening, and join us next week. I've been your host, Oren, and until next time, evolve.
Evolved.